If you're at home, you're an entrepreneur, you're a small business startup, you're not spending time and money, don't call yourself an entrepreneur, because by definition, you're not. A lot of people think 10X is, all the time you're 10X. Sometimes 10X means I got to contract again. Get rid of some stuff so I can double down or 10X on the things that are working.
My success is dependent upon the hate and the criticism and the rejection. You got to have it. It's part of the recipe of success, unfortunately.
Need motivation?
Watch a top 10 with Believe Nation.
Top 10, I got a top 10. Got my motivation high for my top 10. Gotta learn from the wise women and men. All my life, like nah, nah, nah. For my top 10, nah, nah, nah. This one's for my top 10.
Hey, it's Evan Carmichael, and I make these videos because chances are you are the most ambitious person in your circle, but you know you're capable of more. And you get that push by surrounding yourself with the best. So today, let's learn from one of the best, Grant Cardone, and my take on his top 10 rules for success. Enjoy. Okay, let's kick it off with rule number 1, be brutally honest.
If you're at home, you're an entrepreneur, you're a small business startup, you're not spending time and money, don't call yourself an entrepreneur, because by definition, you're not. I'm gonna be back here in November, and there's gonna be people that will not spend the money because they don't have the money. That's what they're saying. I don't have the money, so I can't spend it, to come spend a couple days with me.
There's so many ways to get the money.
Yeah, exactly. So an entrepreneur says, hey, entrepreneurs by definition don't make excuses, okay? You wanna come to the growth conference, you figure out how to come.
And it's an excuse that I shouldn't say to myself.
And like, if you make excuses, that's one thing, but don't make excuses and become a liar.
Exactly.
You know, like be honest, dude, at least say, look, I made an excuse, I didn't come to the deal, didn't make it work. Don't be, I make excuses and I lie to myself, right? So
exactly.
The entrepreneur needs to get brutally honest with themselves and with their family and get participation from the family unit.
Rule number 2, embrace hate.
Handling kind of criticism and people saying don't do that or you can't do that, because you know on any kind of success journey you do get a lot of that. How did you kind of handle that?
Yeah, you know, in the beginning you're not ready for it. I was not ready for the amount of criticism. You know, first you're going to be ignored. In the beginning you're just going to be ignored. Nobody's going to even pay attention to you. You could be Jesus. You could walk on water and they're going to ignore you. Nobody will even see. Hey, did you see that? Did you take a selfie? Did you get it on Instagram? If you didn't, it didn't happen. So it doesn't matter. Like, you could literally save the world, and if nobody saw it, they're going to ignore you in the beginning. Then they're going to reject you. Third thing they're going to do is they're going to criticize you and make fun of you. But if you stay with it, they're going to adopt it, okay? I mean, brilliant people are adopted at the end. If they just stay with it. The hate along the way is part of the game. For you to get past being ignored and then rejected, you will be hated on. And once you start accumulating enough success, I told my team over here, we got 155 employees. I'm like, guys, look, you have to be ready. It's coming, the criticism, the stuff online. Don't even look at it. It's all garbage. And if it affects you negatively, it's not about what they're saying. It's about what it does to you personally. I just know it's part of the game now. In the beginning, I wasn't ready for it. Now I understand, my success is dependent upon the hate and the criticism and the rejection. You got to have it. It's part of the recipe of success, unfortunately, because people that quit are going to hate you for not quitting. They're actually not talking about you. They're talking about themselves. And they're like, he's wrong for having a damn plane because they quit on their plane. Everybody can have a plane. The crazy shit is everybody can have everything they want because there's enough to go around for everybody. So for every guy that doesn't have what he wants, there's somebody on this planet that has the oceanfront house, that goes on as many trips as they want, some guy that's got the 200-foot yacht, some guy that funded a hospital somewhere and put his name on it. And you know, it's just crazy that the hate always comes from the same place, a quitter. Haters actually aren't haters, they're quitters.
Rule number 3, be omnipresent.
What are your best 3 marketing tips?
Number 1 is be everywhere all at the same time. It's called omnipresence. So, omnipresence, omnipresence, by the way, has survived since the beginning of man, 300,000 years or whatever. Whoever can be everywhere will be assigned power, whether it's the Queen or God or Coca-Cola. Whatever can be everywhere will be assigned power. And so omnipresence with marketing, this has really never been possible before until the digital age, the last 6 or 7 years. Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube, these things that, based on the age of this audience, half of you probably don't use. Because you're like, I don't have time for that. This well-dressed man right here with the sweater and the glasses over his nose, and this very aristocratic looking gentleman. Okay, are you on Facebook, sir? He's on Facebook. That's unbelievable. Instagram? No. YouTube? I mean, you have a YouTube channel. I don't mean you watch my YouTube. You have your own YouTube channel? Okay, that's pretty good. So, but you see, like you should, the answer to your question is be omnipresent too. Use all channels, all of them, everything. I'm going to use YouTube, Snapchat, LinkedIn, Twitter. I'm going to use newspapers, even though most people aren't reading newspapers. I'm going to use magazines. I'm going to use, that's marketing. I'm going to use expo events like this, events like stages like this. I'm going to use telephone calls, cold calling, warm calling. I'm going to use billboards. If you go to Miami right now, you'll see 28 massive billboards throughout Miami, $1 million worth of marketing material where I'm introducing where I live, the business owners, to my name. So I would use every marketing means possible. Lastly, the number 3 thing is I would have your marketing budget have a target of your last year's income. I would spend more money on marketing than I do people, and I would spend more money on people than I could even imagine. I would just spend more money.
Rule number 4, keep attacking.
There was this book written called The Millionaire Next Door. It was a big sensation too. A lot of people read this book. It was a super big hit book, okay? And when I read the book, I was like, I got something different from it than what other people got from it. Other people were like, okay, I'm not going to coffee shops anymore. Okay, I'm not going to buy a brand new car anymore. What I got was, I don't want to be the millionaire next door. That's what I got from the book. So it's all about your viewpoint, right? When I finished reading the book, I was like, okay, I don't want to be a millionaire. And I'm definitely not going to take advice from a millionaire. Because when you get $1 million, if you came up the way you and I did, and you had nothing, I give you $1 million and you're going to think, dude, oh my God, I got $1 million. Your mom's going to kiss you. Oh, son, I always knew you could make it, right? And then you're going to wake up the next morning and say, dude, I don't want to lose this money. You go into conservation, into defense. You start playing defense. I was with Mike Tyson. I did Mike Tyson's podcast, the boxer, right? Well, in 19 years old, Mike was the champion of the world. When Mike got in the ring, man, when he was at his perfection, he didn't hit you once. He hit you and he kept hitting you until you went down. There was attack until you couldn't get up. Till you're like, you're just gonna, even if the body can get up, you're like, I don't want to get up now because I can't win this. And that is the way people should be attacking life, right? When Mike started getting data, I even told him this. I said, dude, when you went to the therapist, when you started therapy is when you started having problems. Grant, you're right, Grant. Grant, you're right. When you stopped seeing the therapist, you got better. Because the therapist puts you on defense. What are you doing? You start going on defense. You start looking at where you made your mistakes, as opposed to saying, hey, dude, what worked? Let's repeat it. Let's don't do destructive stuff. Let's get rid of whatever's driving the destructive behavior, right? But with money, man, with money, what you want to do is you want to double down. This is why the casinos never get broke because nobody bets enough in the casinos. Yeah. If all the whales showed up in Macau or in right here in London or in Vegas, and all the whales showed up at one weekend and said, hey, we're going to break the bank and we're going to all push in hard, they could take down a casino. But because all the little guys go to the bank, they lose 5, they lose 5, they lose 5, they win 15, they say, I'm out of here. Yeah. Okay, if they break even, they think they had a big night.
Hey, man.
Everett, how you doing, buddy?
Good. How are you?
You got a book coming out, don't you?
You just came out.
Where can people get it?
Get it on Amazon. Easiest spot. Built to serve. Right there.
Let's go, man. If you guys don't know Evan, follow Evan Carmichael. He's got a new book out, Build to Serve. Go grab it today at Amazon. Just a good dude right here.
Rule number 5, build a team.
People are like, oh, bigger's not better, and I'm better off by myself. You are not better off by yourself. It is absolutely impossible to live on planet Earth as one person, try to communicate to 7 billion, and think you're going to stay in the game. You're not. It's impossible. So you solopreneurs out there, your business model that you created is already broken, thinking I'm going to be by myself and do it by myself. And the proof is in the pudding, because there's 28 million small businesses in America, 22 million of them break even or lose money. Those 22 million all have one thing in common: no employees, no support.
Rule number 6, study successful people.
I made the mistake in my life of studying people that appeared to be successful.
A lot of people are like that.
They appeared to be successful. Today in the times that we live in, you can go on Instagram and it looks like everybody owns a Ferrari, everybody has a Rolls Royce, everybody looks like they're having the best day of their life. That's not studying, that's watching. I want to study people. Or even at conferences, you can go to a conference and watch somebody on stage, and he or she could present to like they're so successful, but if you really get behind the scenes, you'll find out there is no success there. It's just a lot of talking. And so I would just strongly suggest to people to pick a handful of people and make sure those people are actually doing, not just saying. That they're not talking about success. They're actually doing success every day.
And how would you know if they're doing?
Well, you would see it in their statistics, right? Like there's some things you can't fake.
Yeah.
You can't fake somebody. We're buying $250 million worth of real estate this month with my money. Hard to fake that. Okay, it's a great Instagram post, by the way, but you can't fake it. There's going to be a loan. There's going to be a building. There's going to be acres and acres of land. There's going to be people living there. Like, you just can't fake it. So there's a lot of things you can fake. You can make a nice little quote, put it on Instagram. People look at it like that's the truth, And the public is confused with a lot of what appears to be the truth that's not.
True.
And so I would just tell people, study people that have success, that are doing it now. Also, the second thing I would say is make sure that where you're getting your advice from them lines up with where you need advice, right? So Warren Buffett, he's at the tail. He's at the tail of his. He's probably here, right? So here he was doing different things than he's doing here. He talks about investing in stocks, but he actually doesn't do it. He doesn't buy stocks. He buys companies.
Yeah.
So you got to listen to people. Steve Jobs right here was one of the most aggressive business people that this planet's ever seen. I mean, he was barbarian aggressive. So was Bill Gates. But if you talk to Bill Gates today, Bill and Steve's not alive, obviously, but Bill Gates today saying, dude, I'm giving all my money away. Money doesn't matter. That's not what he was saying right here.
Rule number 7, double down on what's working.
Right now in 2020, here we are in April, right? We have this COVID thing happen, and we have massive unemployment, worldwide, literally a worldwide recession, if not a depression about to in formation right now. This is not the time for me to go try something new. This is the time for me to double down on what's working, how to help people right now. How do I scale Cardone University? How do I help customers? I need to actually contract a second so that I can pull the forces back and prepare for another assault.
Yeah.
You can't just go run out. Like a lot of people think 10X is, all the time you're 10X. Sometimes 10X means I got to contract again. get rid of some stuff so I can double down or 10x on the things that are working so I can move again and set up that other company that I want for instance, the real estate. I can't go expand my real estate portfolio in this environment today. Not because I don't want to, but because the markets have seized up. I need a second. I need a second for things to relieve themselves in order to go back and go from 7,000 units to 14,000 units.
Rule number 8, have the right investment priorities.
Property's been a big part of your career and in investing in property. What, can you just give us an insight into, do you still think that that's a good investment for people? Because I know you've been on record as saying, it's not a good idea to own your own house, that kind of thing. What are your views on the current property market?
So the issue for property, again, I love real estate. We buy real estate every day. Every day I'm trying to buy some real estate. But the problem is priorities. Guy gets out of school, gets married, husband and wife. Oh, we got to buy a house. That is the wrong first thing to do. Like, why are you buying a house? We need a place to live. That's an investment. A house is not an investment. A business is an investment. Going to dinner with a client, that is an investment. Going on a trip to meet with other great people that could become investors or customers, that's an investment. Buying a house is a place to live. And the banks, years ago, the banks convinced the public that a house is an investment. A house is not an investment. So why are people, notice how many of your friends bought a house, but they haven't invested money in their business. They bought a house, but they didn't invest money in making themselves better. Dude, I am the house. It's the Grant Cardone house. Okay. Where I live doesn't really matter to me. It could be the Ritz Hotel. It could be the Four Seasons. It could be the Marriott. It could be your house. I could go bunk up at your place. The investments people should be making is number one in myself. Number two is in my business. And the third thing they should buy, once they got the first two handled, everybody should start trying to invest in real assets or real estate that pays them. I'm not talking about a house. I'm talking about buy a piece of real estate that other people rent from you so that you get cash flow.
Rule number 9, build a warrior culture.
How do you build a business with a strong base of operations? You talk a lot about sales and marketing, but how do we do it that sales and marketing go into a strong base of operations and process? How do you go? What advice would you give an entrepreneur to build that strong?
You need a strong culture. You have to have a strong culture, and the culture starts with the leadership, right? So if I'm trying to teach, and this is what happens in big companies and causes big companies to fail, is the CEO often is not really connected to what's happening on the ground. And it's one of the reasons we've been so successful in America, crowdfunding against conglomerates. Culture is the leadership calls out the people around them and keeps everybody sharp.
Exactly.
Or you have a culture where everybody's asleep.
Exactly.
You have culture either way. It's like, what culture do you want? Do you want warriors and fighters and acquirers and people that are hungry and never satisfied? Or do you have a culture? We just left a meeting and they're like, dude, we got problems here. People are satisfied and not working hard enough. There's a handful of people that are extremely aggressive here, but for the most part, the woman told me, most people are just making excuses, not going to the next level, not taking the action, saying this or that about this or that. That's the reason why this or that is this or that, right? And so you got to build a culture of no excuses. Means you got to hire people and get rid of people. We met with some real estate agents yesterday. They hired 1,000 salespeople for this project they're doing. $10 billion worth of real estate to sell. They want me to sell it all. I said, yeah, I can do that. So,
I'm sure.
And 1,000 salespeople, now they're down to a couple hundred. I said, dude, you don't have you have to get a strong culture. He's like, we don't have any culture. I said, oh yeah, you do. You onboard people, and then you don't train them and educate them and make sure that they're excited and keep with them. You can't go to an event for 3 days, get excited, and think it's going to last 3 weeks later. It's not. That's got to be instilled into the culture. You know, you look around these buildings, the way these buildings, there's reinforced steel, there's concrete, there's glass, there's blue, like something's holding that thing together. The Burj where I'm staying is holding it together long after it's built. And that's what has to happen with management and ownership.
And rule number 10, the last one before a very special bonus clip, is understand the 10X way of life.
Can you walk through the 10X rule? Like, I know you sort of touched on points, but like just high level, just because some people may not know, like you're known as the 10X guy, but what is the 10X rule at its core?
Yeah, well, the 10X rule, first of all, the 10X rule is not an idea, it's a way of life. And people that go 10X are massive action people. And the premise of the book is there's 4 levels of action. You don't do anything, you retreat, you do average, or you go 10X. Now, the first three, everybody knows somebody that does nothing, that you call them lazy. Actually, it's impossible to do nothing, but just for conversation, we'll say a person does nothing. We know that's not going to work. Retreating, if you retreat your entire lifetime, it's going to be very painful. Retreating, by the way, takes more energy than just normal activity. The guys that get up every day and go to work every day, going backwards, making a decision to do something and not doing it is very painful. A lot of wear and tear going backwards. The third one is the most damaging of all 3, which is normal levels of activity, the acceptable, the average, the middle class, the norm, because you get lost. These people get lost. They work every day. They show up every day. They dig ditches every day. They do a good job every day. They're loyal every day, but they never get rewarded ever. Number 3 is the story of my whole life. Yeah. That's where I operated the most of my life.
Most people.
Normal levels of activity, maybe just above normal, just enough to shine a little bit, but dude, I never went for it. And so the 10X rule is like, okay, how do I really take some risk here? How do I really put myself out there? So the middle class of America is basically laid up on number 3, being convinced to go to number 2. And then ended up with, basically they'll end up with number 1.
And how do you suggest somebody takes that move from 3 to 4?
Yeah. So what you would do is you need to understand that number 3 is the biggest disaster that we have. It's where all wealth is created on the backs of number 3. The wealthy, and this will happen again. We'll come out of this virus thing. People will go back to consuming again, and they'll go back to debt. They'll go back to borrowing money to buy things they don't even need, to impress people they don't even know, because they're unsure about who they are and where they're going. And so the middle of the spine of America, the middle class of India when it develops, the middle class of China will fund the wealthy. And because they do the normal things. The wealthy do not do normal things. They do completely, they don't save money. Wealthy people don't save money. They invest money. Wealthy people don't spend time or manage time. They take money that's useless. They know it's useless. And they buy, I'm going to get 1,000 employees. And then everybody's like, well, that guy never works. He hired 1,000 people to do work. Mm-hmm. This is an old story, by the way. You can go back to the King Tut. Okay. I mean, it's not a new story. It's like, how do you get wealthy? Well, you commit to massive action. How do you do massive action? You only have 40 hours a week, or 80 or 100. Elon Musk says, hey man, 100 hours. He works 100 hours a week. He does the video about the 100 hours. He's like, look, if I do 100 and you do 40, I win. He's a smart dude too, by the way. Real smart guy. But he's nobody without the risk, without the big think, and without the massive action.
Now I've got a very special bonus clip that I think you're going to enjoy. But before that, it's time for the question of the day. I want to know, what was your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week? When you get motivated, inspired, you have a 35% chance of following through. But when you get motivated, inspired, and you create a plan of action, you have a over 90% chance of following through. And when you share it with other people, it jumps to 95% chance, your likelihood of following through. And so I want that to be you from this video. We don't just watch videos here, Believe Nation. We do something. We take action. So I want to know your single biggest takeaway from this video and your plan of action for the next week. Leave it down in the comments below because I want to celebrate you.
When I was 25 years old, I was broke, no money. I had no respect for my family. I was the black sheep. I was in debt. I had lost 7 jobs. When I quit blaming everyone else, my life changed. When I quit looking at what everybody else had and said, why do they have that and I don't? And when I shifted that to why do they have all that stuff and I don't? When I finally made the little shift and asked the same question, why do they have it and I don't? What have they done that I haven't done? What do they know that I don't know? What moves did they make that I didn't make?
If you want 10 more amazing rules from Grant Cardone, check out the video right there next to me. I think you'll enjoy it. Continue to believe, and I'll see you there.
My multiplier was broken. I wasn't multiplying, I was adding. I was doing a little bit more. I was never doing a lot more. I was never doing enough more.